Hello, you beautiful people, and welcome to the As of Yet award-winning That 40k Lunchtime Show, where we dissect the meta, analyze lists, and provide all the grade A banter that you could hope for. And all that banter is going to be provided by Jack Tight for now, because Ed's around somewhere, just not here. Apologies for the slight late delay. Once again, we're having a few issues with our connections, with the software we use, all the fun stuff. So we're just going to soldier by. But hey, hi Jack, how the devil are you, sir?
I'm good. I've had a nice fun weekend at doubles event, as Chazza has just pointed out in the chat, where I got to run around with some golden people, do some shooting and some combat, die, and then Luke scored all of my points for me. It's great.
Excellent.
I had a good
That's what, I,
time.
that's what we like to hear. Yeah, of course. It was the Saffron Doubles event, Christmas themed. So you were on Custodes. What was Luke on?
Tau.
Tau, of course. So did he bring a nice fun Tau list?
We were originally going to take two really stupid lists, but I don't think either of us really found anything or actually put any time into finding something really stupid beforehand. So Luke messaged me last week. He was like, I'm just going to submit Montcar with two Riptides. So it's like, okay, cool. And then for me, I went on the day of list submission. I found a box, and I was like, I don't know what's in this box. I can't remember. And then I opened it, and inside it had all of my delightful Custorks.
Yes, your award-winning Custorks.
They have, yeah. I haven't gotten these out for like multiple years. We've got, I don't know if the camera will pick it up. We've got my Caladius tank that did not go to the tournament with me, but is one of many things that were in the box.
Very nice. Yeah. Beautiful. Excellent. And what was it a fun event? Were they good vibes? Was everyone in the Christmas spirit?
It's always good vibes at Lewis's events, to be fair. We successfully managed to complete our mission of not playing on the UKTC boards at all. So, perfect. I've spent enough time playing Warhammer on UKTC tables at this point that I don't really want to play more Warhammer on UKTC if I can avoid it. But
It's entirely fair. Lovely. And you finished third, am I right in saying?
we did finish third. We lost to one of the.
Just can't help yourself. You got to do it. You got to go and win some sort
Well,
of.
I've got to add Lewis's. Thing is, right, I always feel like I have to get a trophy from Lewis's events because every time it's got a different design on it.
Yeah, you're collecting them.
So you have like a little fun collection. Like I've got a Storm Boy, I've got the little Red Gobbo one now. I've got a Chaos Terminator somewhere. Yeah, you just build up all these fun little designs.
I have. No, I don't have a Lewis one. I've got an East Slam one, which was similar. But yeah, they're very cool. I like the bust ones. As for myself, I was at Warhammer World at the weekend. I got to play my first ever Warhammer World tournament, which was very cool. And it was a team event. So Jack Doddy managed to get us a ticket. So it was Jack Doddy, who was playing with his Admech Raven and robots. We had Lee on Emperor's Children, who was trying out the Peerless detachment. We had Tom on Windrider Host, and then myself on Banisher's Grey Knights. We had a lot of fun. Really, really well run tournament, actually. I would highly recommend. I'd never been to a GW event before, but it was really well done. Got tickets were a bit more expensive, but you got free lunch in the canteen. The boards were really nice with the terrain, and the vibes were immaculate. It was probably one of my best events in terms of just like 5 nice opponents. So that was really great. At the end of day one, we were one of 2 undefeated teams. The other undefeated team being made up of Games Workshop employees, who just so happened to be Nathan Roberts, Josh Roberts, Johnny Simmons, and then another guy called Scott. Much like the vibe, Scott had got the memo, and Scott had taken Deceptors, and then Nathan had brought Chaos Knights, but he did have 3 Abominants and a Despoiler.
Yeah, it was 3 Abominants from what I looked. I thought, that's kind of fun.
Johnny was on Zinch Demons, so that was a nice vibey. He'd never played it before, and then Josh went full vibes as you'd expect and took 20 Victrix Guard. And we got to play that game, and I got to play in the Victrix Guard. So if you want to know how close I made that game, watch out for my Grey Knight video that's coming out tomorrow. And you will be astounded.
You can also find out early if you look up what Josh's scores at the events were.
If you see that Josh played 5 games and won 20.05 times.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Who knows?
You wouldn't know unless you looked at that, of course.
All I will do is try and defend myself in that video. So if you want to hear an impassioned defense of why I got 28, yeah, you'll find out why. And then we won our final game. So we went 4-1. Unfortunately, we did end up coming 4th because second place went 4 wins and a draw, who didn't play Josh Roberts' team or us. Third place was Bogmasters, obviously some of your friends, Jack, who also didn't play Josh Roberts' team. Did play us. They lost, but they scored. They had more individual wins than us, and that was the tiebreaker. So gutting. We should have just won more games. They also scored more battle points than us. So yeah, such is the nature. But it was good fun, really good fun. I just don't know why. I just really wanted to podium at a Warhammer World event, but it was really fun. 4-man pair or 4-man teams is quite interesting for pairings. Kind of got used to it a bit more as it went along. Our second round opponents, I kind of got my cards, put them down. He was like, "Why have you got cards for? What's that?" I was like, "Well, for the pairing." And I was like, "Well, no, there's no. You just say who you want." So it's not. And I was like,
No.
At which point I'd already turned over my defender card, foolishly, because he hadn't said anything. He was like, "Oh, who do we normally put as a defender?" I was like, "Okay, it's that sort of game." Right, but they were lovely. I had a lovely time. So yeah, I filled enough of time here. We're now 10 minutes in, still no Ed. So I guess we're just going to dive in, guys. And I'm going to do my technical thing, and we're going to hope that there's no more actual technical issues, as is our want. If Ed does rock up in the bottom of the screen, Jack, just let me know, and I will.
We're not going to keep him down there in like purgatory for 20 minutes for being late.
So. I literally can't see him, so you'll just have to.
Oh, okay.
Because I have my full screen is the laptop, is the pop-up. Let's just dive into chat. We've got Chazza here. Hope you had good fun at Saffron. Sam wanted to talk about Wind Rider. Tom will be doing a video on his Wind Rider run because we were nice to him and gave him all the easy matchups. Dom's here. Hello, sir. Mark Wilshaw, hello. Flashy or Alex is here. He's ready for you to talk all about Votan. You're super excited.
It's
Ultimate Funk is firing off his hot takes from Data Slate already. GW have run scared from Jax Castellan, times 3 and Cool Build and killed it stone dead. Farewell.
Damn.
Absolutely. They heard whispers on the wind, and then Paint Celestine is here. Hello to everyone. Welcome to our show. So obviously we always start with Week in Warhammer. There was a data slate, so we will talk about that and get Jack's opinions on that. We're then going to look at a couple of Glasshammer RTTs. There was one on Saturday, one on Sunday. The reason for doing that is they were using the new updated rules. So very quick fire look at the meta. We then got Who Am I? But if Ed doesn't show up, we won't be having Who Am I? And then we've got 3 lists to talk about. We've got GSC, Votan, and Blood Angels. So, Jack, it is finally here on Wednesday. It came. Obviously, some of our guys did a show where they spoke about their initial first takes. I'll leave the floor open to you, good sir. What do you think it was a good data slate? First of all, rank the data slate out of 10. What do you think it was out of 10?
I honestly think this is the worst slate we've had in recent times.
Excellent,
so it's like a 1 or a 2.
1 out of 10. Right.
Honestly, it's. I have a lot of issues with this data slate.
Right. Everyone, settle down. It's time for the salt mine with Jack White. Let's go, sir.
So, I'm not entirely sure what the logic was coming into this data slate, where obviously there's a few armies that need some toning down, right? I think before, let's not even think about Victrix for a minute. Let's go with Admech Sisters Eldar. Yeah. Clearly, all of those armies were a little bit too good.
Hmm.
I think the general consensus as well was that they're a little bit too good, but they're not wildly out of proportion. Maybe there's a couple of interactions that need tweaking. Maybe there's a few things that need points adjustments. So what we actually got for those three factions was Eldar. They quadruple nerfed and basically took the current existing build, punted it into the sun, and now you're like, oh, so these detachments are unplayable now compared to the others. And it's like, yeah, it's like aspect host is not it anymore. Um, on top of all the points increases they gave to the units, sisters I think got a perfectly reasonable set of points increases. I think one of my other big issues with this data slate is that there's a whole lot of armies that have either got no changes at all or have got only red changes. And, you know, I get that obviously we don't want to just create a new unit that becomes auto take times 3, right? But talking about sisters again, right? There's loads of stuff that we could have done differently here. Like,
Yeah.
personally, I think they increased Val, which is whatever, fine. What I personally would have done is I would have gone a step further. I would have increased Val by another 15 points, and I would have decreased Paragon Warsuits by 15 points because no one ever takes them on their own.
Yeah.
And I'd have done the same. Maybe I'd have brought Penitent Engines down and Mortifiers down a little bit as well. Just something so there's some green numbers there, so it looks like both sides have been considered. That also applies to AdMech, that logic, where there's a lot of red numbers, which needed to happen to those units.
Yeah.
But there's no greens, right? There's nothing for players of these factions to be excited about, right? Like the data slates come out and they go, okay, is there anything new I can try? Is it no? It's just they've just nerfed stuff. And that is very common across this data slate, where there's a whole bunch of armies that got no changes at all, which is fine if they feel the army is performing within bracket, but you got to remember a lot of people really look forward to this every 3 months, right? And it's incredibly disappointing when it comes out and there are no positive changes for you to try, right? Normally post data slate, I'm hyped to try all sorts of different builds. Be like, oh, I'll give this detachment a go. I'll give this a go. And I think this is the only time I've truly felt after a data slate where I'm like, I'm not really that excited to try anything new. Because there isn't anything that they've really incentivized being good now, right? Other than some builds that we already knew were about to be very broken. And this is before we even talk about the biggest elephant in the room, which is what on earth was this Victrix Guard change? Like, how are Victrix Guard one of the few units in the data slate that got a green change? How? Like, we'll ignore the fact that the 6-man unit didn't go up anywhere near as much as it needed to, right? Why did the 3-mans go down? The 6-man unit cost should have just been what the 3-man costed times 2 to begin with, right? It should have been 140 for 3, 280 for 6, and we see where it lands. Not whatever this was. I do not know how Victrix got out of this the way they did. And it's just not a good look when you've got certain people who are in charge of balancing decisions playing 20 Victrix Guards. I don't know. I was very disappointed to see that they did not get addressed the way they should. And, you know, I can kind of forgive the Lord of Change becoming damage 3 a little bit, because this build with Scintillating Legion has only really become a thing in the last 2 or 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
But let's be honest. I think we probably could have taken a few seconds to go, okay, it turns out this unit is actually a lot better than we realized it was. We still want to make it damage 3. I think that's fine. So we need to massively up the points cost here and not just a token 10-point increase that, you know, has effectively... That build is now broken, right? It's in the same category as Victrix. I think my other issue coming out of the data slate is, as I call it, we've got a whole bunch of crayon munching armies at the minute, where it's none of of them are particularly complicated to play. None of them are particularly skill. I mean, skill rewarding is the wrong word for it. That's discrediting people who are doing well with these armies. But they're builds that are perhaps a lot easier to play than other armies, right? Like, I think out of this data slate, we're going to have Victrix Guard everywhere still. That build is not that hard to play, really. You're going to have the Lord of Change chicken build everywhere, which I'm sure Zinch players will claim it's really hard to play, but I'm not convinced that moving a Screamer 20 inches, seeing into a building, and then shooting a Lord of Change and Kairos into whatever unit you're trying to hide is particularly challenging. But by all means, I'm sure people will disagree with me on that one. And then the other one is the new guard detachment is basically just an assortment of things that guard players love to see and everyone else hates to see. Where it's what they've done is they've made guard units even more efficient when ordered, which I think for many non-guard players is one of the most frustrating things about the faction.
Absolutely.
Is how obscenely powerful orders are as a mechanic. So what we've done is we've thrown reroll ones to hit and ones to wound on top of that. But most importantly is we've given Bullgrin orders again, which immediately means we're going to start seeing 12 of them in the vast majority of lists, which will just run across the board. You'll fail to kill the stat check because they are one of the game's most absurd stat checks out there. And then they table you with 2 Rocal Tawns with reroll ones to hit and ones to wound all game. And I'm just, I don't know, I feel really disappointed in this data slate in that we've fixed none of the real big problems in the meta, and we've just introduced more crayon eating builds where people just unga bunga their way across the board and you kind of just die. Like, you know, when Eldar was too good, it's like at least the Eldar player has to be playing. They still have to be playing reasonably decently, right? Apart from the Fuegan break, that did need to get kicked into the sun. But I think everything else, it was, you know, there was a lot of expression there for the Eldar player had to make the right choices or they would lose games.
Absolutely.
Whereas the new meta hotness is 3 or 4 pretty straightforward armies that are not massively technically complicated to play, that is going to create a really bad experience for a lot of players who are going to tournaments for fun, right? Like, these builds are too easy for people to play, so you're going to see a lot of mid-table players who are not having a good time because they have to repeatedly play into these builds with, you know, without any real answer, right? These builds are considerably ahead of anything else in the game. But yeah, that's my rant on the slate over.
We'll just clip that.
Go for it.
Viral for that, Jack. No, I mean, everything you said there echoes definitely my thoughts. I think, as you say, you know, every 3 months we're looking forward to this, right? And the meta's, but before Victrix, the meta's been reasonably okay, but we're all due change. We all want something new. We all want some new toys. We want to, you know, try some different list building. We're all playing the same UKTC missions at the same maps, but we want a bit of something else. And this just doesn't offer it. I mean, like, you take my faction, Grey Knights, right? Like, Interceptors went down 5 points, and Purgation squads went down 5 points or something. My list is now, it was something like it's getting like 30. It's like 30 points under 2k. Like, you can't do anything with that because of just the way the army works. Some factions didn't receive any. It's a very boring data slate just for most people. And then you've got the fact that, I mean, I played into Josh, and I was very keen not to bring it up because I suspect he gets a lot of shit for it, and I'm sure there is reasons and methods. It's obviously very hard to pinpoint that because, as you say, he is playing it, and having played into it, I mean, for context, We were playing on supply drop, which is like Grey Knight's worst mission and probably one of his best because he can just walk to the middle and I'm going to score 0 primary the entire game, which is exactly what happened. But I mean, if we were talking about the 2 hour 45 minute round, I probably took 2/3 of that time up. And yes, Josh is an exceptional player and he played it flawlessly and he punished every little type of small mistake I made. I genuinely couldn't remotely begin to puzzle out how to play into that thing with my particular army. It was just, I was like, oh, so if I do this, he was like, oh, I could do this. Right. And what about this? I could do this. It just had all the things. I then charged 10 interceptors in because I was like, fuck it. And I caused 0 damage into the Victrix Guard unit because, Arm of Contempt's a thing. And it was just like, he said on any other mission, we could play it. Maybe I could dance around and play to 5 or 6 points. On this particular mission, at best, I was hoping for 1, which is not really a great position to be in and would imply a lack of balance. At the end of the day, all the Victrix Guard people have gone, oh, right, so, I mean, what was their list? Lost 90 points? Like, that isn't in any way a nerf when you're already so overcosted. And I just fully agree that it just feels like we're in for a miserable time. Guard is only just being experienced or like looked into now with the new stuff, and you'll be far more aware than I am of the sort of things that people like NAS are building. Have you played into NAS on Guard yet?
I haven't played into it, but I've watched enough games to see that it's a problem.
Yeah.
There's that, and my issue with it is that there's 2 not very fun variants that are going to come out of it. The first one is the Bullgrin version, and the other one, which I haven't even talked about, is indirect spam is back. Right, like it's not like Basilisk and Manticore indirect spam, but it's field ordnance batteries and mortars, which for some armies is fine. But if you're playing an army that's relying on MSU units, you don't even get to play a game. Right, it's like if you have a 5 model toughness 3 unit, you are going to lose 3 of them every turn to just random indirect. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, it feels a lot like we haven't really addressed any of the biggest problems in the meta. We've made a whole bunch of players feel bad after the data slate, and no one really has anything to look forward to. It's just a bit disappointing, right? Really.
Think about what the next 3 months are gonna be like for many people. They're just going to be worse. Like, how are we going to have a better time? A data set is supposed to improve things. It's made things worse for most people through inaction, essentially. It'd be interesting to see in a month or so how many people are actually going to tournaments.
Well, that's it, right? Like I've even sat here going, do I want to do Nottingham in January?
Yeah.
Like,
if you're not taking or something.
Yeah, like I normally really like doing Nottingham, right? I'll go up on the Friday, I'll go to Warhammer World for the day, I'll do the event, but like I don't know, I'm just not really feeling it. Like I've been, put in perspective, I've been trying to talk Naz into letting me not play at the next ITT. It's I think this is the most disinterested I've been in a meta for 40k in probably 3 years. I think the last time I've genuinely been like, I am so disinterested in playing was when they released Desolation Rings.
Yes.
Which is saying something, I think.
And as Lee says, GW is ruined for Christmas.
Yeah, that's it. I've waited all year for this. All I wanted was a good Christmas Grotmas release, and this is what we get given.
Yeah.
God.
Lee actually played into the Tzeentch Demons, and he managed to scrape a 10-10 going first on supply drop, so what a hero. But it was, I could certainly hear quite a few frustrated noises coming from Lee as these chickens just sat at the back and collapsed everything.
Yep.
So, yeah. And yeah, as Facebook says, try being a NID player. Hey, did your exocrines go up? That's normally what happens. So, don't stop crying about it, guys. But yeah, so what a nice, happy, warm start to everyone's Monday there. You are welcome. Hopefully the rest of your week gets better. So anyway, have you had a chance to look at the EC and Wolf detachments?
I've looked at the EC one a bit. The Wolves one, from what I'm aware, is just a worse Gladius. Is what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
The EC one is interesting in that I think it's the only detachment other than Peerless. Is Peerless? I think it's Peerless, which looks like it might be a viable alternative to Coterie. Um, I don't think it will be, for what it's worth. I think Coterie is just by far has the best stratagem suite of the EC book, but it's nice to see a detachment that actually looks like you can put some other units on the table,
Sure.
and it's a slightly viable alternative take, right? Like if you want to play Fulgrim, you're probably playing him in the new detachment. I still think the ability to go through walls should just be on his datasheet and not locked behind a stratagem.
A free strat, right?
Yeah, it's a free strat, right? But it means that you have to play him in that detachment. Whereas I genuinely feel we could just put that on his datasheet. You could probably even do something absolutely crazy like up his base movement to 20, and I still think he'd be not broken because he just doesn't hit hard enough
He
for
doesn't.
the Primarch model.
I played into him I played into EC for the first time at the weekend. Actually, I played into Peerless. Our very only Churchwood played into Peerless and did amazingly well. So check out how he talks about that tomorrow podcast show if you're an EC player. But I played into Fulgrim for the first time, and I was so underwhelmed. I mean, obviously, my detachment has a anti-chaos 4-up stratagem. If you're on an objective, you're probably going to die to a unit of purify shooting. So it didn't put him in the best place, but eventually Fulgrim got into 10 interceptors and killed like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, this isn't really a terrifying Primarch thing, right? And that's sad. That is a sad situation to be in, where people don't act, especially when it first comes out, where people don't actively want to take the cool new thing. So I think that's just a shame. Yeah, if Ed was here, he would have spoken about the wolf detachment.
Yes,
I'm sure.
I'm not super knowledgeable on it, but
So we'll save that for another time. So that's kind of been the week in Warhammer. Yeah, things are really shit. You're all welcome, everyone. I don't know what else to
the
say.
game sucks. I'm gonna make an angry Reddit thread about it, guys.
So anyway, so there were different events we could have looked at. I'm not interested in going through the Warhammer World one just because it's old meta, and the guys on the podcast tomorrow will talk through our run and everything. I'll be doing a video on it from my Grey Knight perspective. Tom will be doing a Wind Rider one. I'm not sure if Lee's going to do one or if he'll just do the podcast. But yeah, so we're going to look at the Glasshammer RCT because they played the new rules, I believe, and they had one on the Saturday and one on the Sunday. So here's the Saturday one. Now, if you remember, about 10 minutes ago, mid-rant, Jack was talking about 12 Children.
I see.
So let's have a look at David, who took Grizzled Company, and his title is Grizzled Boy
It's
12
Fulgrim.
So
yeah, I feel like I might have seen this list before, but let's go through it and we'll see if it's familiar.
Command Squad, Commissar, Tempestus Command Squad, Rogel Dawn Commander, Ursula Creed, 10 Cadians, and then a Chimera, and then Bullgrin Squad, Kassakian Unit, Creed Combat Engineers, and that's a 10, a 5, and then another 5 of those, Tempestus Scion Unit. So what do you think about this?
So this list actually has considerably more durability and staying power than it has any right to on paper.
Okay.
So I think if I'm reading it right, we've got it's either the big Cadian like command squad or they've got the little fun one. I don't think there's an Ogrin bodyguard in this list, is there? No. Okay. So there isn't the dumb Ogrin bodyguard squad, so we don't have to talk about that. The main thing here that probably gets missed is that because this detachment has armor of contempt and combat engineers have a 4-up save base, they are surprisingly durable in their 10-man unit as the sort of first early game, first wave, right? Because they're going to be 3-up armor of contempt with cover. They're a surprisingly tricky unit to shift, even before we consider the fact that they drop mortal wounds on people and, they have the free grenades and whatnot, right? Like they're a surprisingly durable unit. And I think that goes for a lot of stuff in this detachment where it's all a lot more durable than it feels like it should be. Because, Armor of Contempt on a 3-up save, 1 wound model is really good, especially when that model is 9.5 points,
Well,
effectively.
yes, that's yeah.
So that's sort of the first thing, is that the durability is a little bit higher than people expect it to be. The other one is that this list hard punishes people trying to push into it. If you try and push into this sort of guard list, you get tabled in 2 turns. And I'm not joking. I've watched this and a list very similar to this table pretty big chunks of the game in turns 1 to 3 if you think you can actually fight it.
Yeah.
This list doesn't do the sort of the really good early game skirmishing stuff as well as combined, it feels like sometimes. The lack of lethals on stuff means that a lot of the time your individual one-to-one trades don't feel as good, but the overall list just works so much better than it does in combined arms. And yeah, when we see it here, it's got 12 Bullgrin in it. It's going to be a good list if it's got 12 Bullgrin and 2 Rogel Dawns.
Is there a world where we can see list switch lean into indirect and Bullgrin, or is that not quite working out?
I don't think the points quite allow them to do both, which is good. I think the thought of trying to play into this with indirect and 12 Bullgrin would be horrendous. You do have to choose which one of the two you want, and currently the meta says you want the Bullgrin. There's going to be metas out there where you want the indirect, but that's not where we're at right now. They need the Bullgrin to buy themselves a couple of turns versus the Victrix Guard. So
I was going to say, so what is the Victrix Guard matchup for this list like? Is it a drawish? Is it small win, small loss? What do you think?
It still loses to Victrix, but I think it's one of the few builds in the game that gives it a really good...
Take it on at teams, for example.
Yeah. It gives it a really good showing. And I think if if there is a big gap in matchup knowledge between the Guard player and the Victrix player, I think Guard can win it. Mm-hmm. But the Guard player has to be substantially more knowledgeable about the matchup than the Marine player.
That's interesting. Okay, cool. So David came first, and then we've got Gareth on Votan coming second, with a 19, a 20, and 11. So he's gone half band. He's posted on something for Greg Chamberlain. I Need Champion, Carl, Memner, Uthar, Capricus, Thunderkin are all the rage at the moment. So we've got triple Thunderkin, 3 units of 5 Berserks, and then a little unit of half guard, big unit of half guard, big unit of half guard, so 25 half guard, a unit of 3 Pioneers, 3 Pioneers, 3 Pioneers, unit of Jaegers, and that's it. Half guard seems to be in vogue at the moment from quite a few people, or half band, sorry.
Yeah, I think a part of that probably is that actually Hearthguard have pretty good profiles for going into Victrix. I think Hearthband in the new book is just very good anyway. Like, you look at this list, and the units just keep on going and going and going and going. Like, it has loads of stuff, so it plays the game really well. It's got a couple of really good just hammer durability pieces, which allows it to change up the playstyle if the MSU trading isn't working. And like I said, the plasma guns with rapid fire and the rerolls are actually good into Victrix, which is a very good place to be, it turns out. If you kill Victrix Guard, you're probably a good list.
Yes. I can tell you for free that Grey Knights do not. And then we've got Aiden on World Eaters. They took a few little nerfs, didn't they? In terms of points. So boom, Angron straight in after his points deduction. That's what we like to see. So we got Angron, Khan, Lord Invocatus, Master of Executions, and Slaughterbound, which obviously got a little points rise. Corn Berserkers, 3 8-bound, 3 8-bound, 3 Exhausted, 8-bound, 8 Goremongers, 10 Jackals, double or triple Spawn, a Mauler Fiend, and the obligatory Rhino. Do we think Angron is back?
No, if I'm being totally honest. Angron is in a weird spot, right? Where ultimately we can fix Primarch size models by dropping the points. right? Like that will eventually make any of them good, even Fulgrim. Um, but the reality is I think his rules are very uninspiring. Um,
Yep.
and it's tricky because you don't really want Angron to be a buff bot, right? Like that doesn't feel very Angron esque.
No.
But you also can't make him too good at killing things because then he ends up in every list just to kill things. So I think my thoughts on what I would do with him is I would let him give you an army wide third blood tithe table result. And I think that would be a very interesting way of making him good for World Eaters lists without having to make him an aura, basically, that your army stands around, and without making him too good at individually killing units. If he just gave you a third, result on the blood table every turn of your choice, I thought
Yeah.
that would be quite interesting.
Nice.
But yeah, I think he's a lot better. Obviously, you're not going to be worse if you go down in points. But ultimately, he is entering a meta where people are going to be trying to tech to kill big Lord to Change with lots of rerolls, trying to kill very durable Victrix Guard pieces. It's a scary time to be a big, expensive model, that's for sure.
Speaking of which, Dom has just given us a little bit of money to say, can Jack give an Imperial Knight list for
Uh,
anti-chicken and Victrix? So
well,
knights. So Dom's a Imperial Knight player. I work with Dom, but I don't know much about knights. So we work on other things other than light knights lists. So how are Imperial Knights going to solve the meta? Do they have a chance in singles?
I think you can make lists that have game into Victrix, right? I think you can have profiles for that. I think the chickens are off the table. Now, the reason for that is that, at least for Imperial Knights, the issue with Imperial Knights over Chaos Knights is Imperial Knights tends to be a lot of quite low volume, very high quality output with the rerolls,
Yeah.
and the chicken build cares not for your high quality, low volume shooting,
So
right?
rerolls.
They're going to be rerolling all of their invuns. If you shoot a Castellan at them, right, between the plasma gun and the volcano lance, you can expect to maybe get one save through, and it won't be the volcano lance. So it's like you're going to do 3 to 6 damage, maybe. And they're just slightly too good at cutting off what knights are good at. I think into Victrix is a different story. I think knights can take a good amount of high damage, high AP. You get around the -1 to wound with a hit and a wound reroll a little bit. I think Imperial Knights have a little bit of play into Victrix. It's not good play, right? It's the same camp as everyone else, where if it's still the best build in the game, and you have to keep in mind that no matter how hard you tech for it, it's always going to be a bit of an uphill game. But if you're taking stuff with high AP, high damage, I think Canis is probably still really good into them. The Castellan is probably good into Victrix, and you're staying away from the sort of low AP, Gatling cannons and rapid fire battle cannons and stuff. I think you can make a knight list that kills Victrix for sure.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that, right? Like Grey Knights suffer from AP, and that was really clear. So we're going to lean into people wanting to have high AP stuff, because obviously the AP is irrelevant, and that's a potential issue, right? Like AP is irrelevant when you're playing into chickens, but AP is incredibly important when you're playing into Victrix. So we've got these two potential conflicts of interest there.
Yeah, I don't think I talked about it much earlier, but at the minute, the tools required to answer the really good things coming out of this data slate are so wildly different that it's for the thing is, right, when you have one meta menace, it's quite possible to answer it by just teching quite heavily into that one army. I think my problem at the minute is the things you need to tech into are slightly different, right? They're all just a bit too different that most armies can't do it all. So we'll see where the meta settles, and hopefully someone finds some blanket answer to all of them, and they're not a menace. But
Windrider hopes, mate.
It probably kills chickens, but it doesn't kill Victrix. So
You didn't get to find that out, unfortunately. So yeah, I guess the one thing I would say is you're far more likely to bump into Victrix Guard at any sort of tournament than you are to bump into chickens,
yeah,
right?
I think
Like
so.
obviously we have our eye a bit more on the upper end of the competitive side just because it's the people we know and part of those discussions. But I mean, my final game yesterday was against a really good Demons player, and he was like, "Oh, now the chickens are 3 damage, maybe I'll put one into my list." But like Scintillating Legion wasn't on his mind. He was a good player, but it wasn't on his mind because he's not immersed in like the online community of discussion and that sort of thing, right? So it doesn't mean that suddenly there's just going to be chickens everywhere. We'd see an uptake on it, and lots of people have demons, but there will be some hobby lag as they potentially try and get more Zinch. So I'd say if you're going to the tournament soon, there potentially is a world where you want to be focusing more on Victrix because it's less likely to play into demons. If you are interested in seeing a demon list, we've got Adam Ryland here. He played Scintillating Legion, and it looks like he lost 11-9 into Votan. We were actually talking about this yesterday because Jack Doddy plays Votan, thinking that potentially Votan feel quite happy into the demons. So this is a list. So we've got Be'lakor, we've got Doom Prince of Chaos with Wings. We've then got Fate Weaver and 2 Lords of Change. You can obviously take all 3, but then you get less stuff. 10 pink horrors, and then we've got some flamers and screamers, and they're just annoyingly durable things. I had 5 purifiers fighting into 1 screamer, and he killed like 3 of mine, and then the 2 remaining guys didn't kill him back. Like they're just irritating as a profile. So yeah, is this the sort of list do we think we're going to be seeing a lot of, Jack?
Yeah, I think this list is going to be a bigger problem than people think it is because ultimately it's a big monster mash type list, which tend to be very popular for people to pick up, quickly paint, and then play. It's kind of like the Knights effect, right? Where when Knights are good, they're everywhere. This is a sort of build where if people realize it's really good, they'll buy a few Lords of Change, airbrush them in 20 minutes, put them on a table their opponent in 20 minutes, and move on.
Job done. So there you are, guys. If you want a quick fire tournament for Nottingham GT, this is the sort of tournament list you could go build. And you know what? It's sad because it's such a cool detachment.
Yeah.
It's so different. There's like a strat, isn't there, where you roll the dice and
Oh,
then
God.
the number you roll, it like that dice number doesn't count for your like hits or something.
Yeah, so basically how that strat works is they spend a CP when you hit them. I think it's only in combat. They roll a dice, and whatever they roll on that dice, if you roll that number as the player attacking the Lord of Change or the Zinch units, your attack sequence ends. Now that is so brutal if they ever get that 6 because it also turns off all your sustained hits, all your lethal hits.
Yeah.
And they can re-roll the dice with a flux token as well.
Yeah.
So the odds of them getting a pretty good result is likely.
Fun. Very, very fun. Very thematic. I do look because obviously you can roll a 1 and re-roll it into something like pointless, but frustrating. I think potentially.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's our RTT. That was on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, look at this. This is exciting. So Drakari, straight at the top there. Let's have a look at this Drakari list. Is it Spectacle? It is Spectacle. A wonderful name there. So we've got Drazar, Lady Malaise, Lilith, Succubus, Witches, Venom, and then Hellions, Incubi, Mandrakes, Ravager, Reavers, Scourges, so much stuff, and Scourges. We've obviously got a few Archons in our team. The general feeling is that Spectacle has playing teams, but just struggles a bit. Do you know much about the new Drakari?
I think my understanding of Spectacle, at least in its role in the meta at the minute, is it's very solid into like infantry based armies and even infantry based stat checks. It's very good into. Much like you said, it's good for teams. I think it falls off pretty hard if you have to go into high toughness sort of vehicle monster skews. I'll be interested to see what three things be played. I think that would be a bit interesting to look at if there was any monster builds in
So
there.
his name is
But I think the most interesting thing about it is it does have viable play into Victrix. I have seen Victrix lose to Spectacle. Just because, again, it kills infantry stat checks. It can absolutely tackle that sort of thing. It's the vehicle and monster side of things that it starts struggling into. So
so
great
he
teams
was
army struggles a little bit for singles.
round one. He beat World Eaters 15-5. Round two, he beat Dark Angels 20-0. And round three, he beat Emperor's
Oh,
Children.
if beat Mr. Matt Bell.
He
I'll have
beat
to ask
Mr.
him
Matt.
about that one.
Oh no, 12-8. So
I assume Matt was probably playing the new detachment, so would be my guess.
Matt was on
Oh
coaching.
no, it was Coterie.
Definitely designed this myself. Yeah. So yeah, he's gone for 3 winged demon princes and then a mix of all the general stuff.
It's interesting because I would have thought it would struggle with this a little bit.
Sounds like you screwed
Just
up, Matt. Jack's
hey,
calling you out.
I could be completely wrong, but I think the demon princes are genuinely very tricky for Spectacle to deal with. So I think that's a very interesting outcome.
Yeah, we know you weren't playing on the Saturday, Matt. You were losing to a matchup you should never have lost to, according to Jack, on the Sunday. So there we go. So yeah, that was that. Let's get back to placing. So and then here we are. Finally, talk about the one thing I actually know. So I'm going undefeated Ryan with his Warpbane. So we've got Librarian and Crow. So Librarian gives you load up 18. We then got Strike Squad, Rhino, 10-5-5 of Interceptors. You got to have the 10 Interceptors in a Rhino. It's beautiful.
Can I say he gets minus points for listing a 5, then a 10, then a 5?
I know. Yeah. It's
That, as far as I'm concerned, is a
that's
10-point battle ready
isn't
reduction
it?
for doing your list like that.
Terrible human being, mate. Purgation squad with silencers, so they're quite good because they have sustained, full rerolls, and precision. So they're quite good at picking out an annoying marine character, for example, that's not got a 2-up. And then we've got 10 purifiers with psi cannons. That's cool, not flamers. And then another 10, which is all punchy. And we've got 5, and then we've got a Cowardice and a Storm Raven. So he's gone down the Storm Raven. I was thinking this, whether the Storm Raven can do work into Victrix. Obviously, we've seen people jump onto the Storm Raven and then move away from it. It's got good use if you can play it well. So, yeah, I mean, I do think Wartbane's just fundamentally good because at the end of the day, re-rolling all your hits is a good rule to have. And yeah, you could see here he's gone 18 and then an 11, classic Grey Knights, and then a 10, which I'm going to assume was into Dave, who was on Victrix. So let's have a quick look there. Yeah, so there we are, guys. So Henrik, you were asking in the chat, how do Grey Knights deal with Victrix? It's the Storm Raven. Because Dave McLeod was on Gladius. So this is what a new Victrix list looks like. Captain in Gravis armor, just a really chunky boy. Lieutenant, Calgar, Ventress, so not Sicarius. Then an Intercessor squad for Sticky, and then triple Ballistus, double Redemptor. Gotta hate Redemptors. Double Scout squad, and then we've got 2 units of Victrix Guard. So this is your new Overlord right here, right? This is what we're going to be playing into, isn't it, Jack?
Well, once they get the third unit of Victrix in there, then absolutely. But I mean, 12 is still a very real headache for most armies. I think 18 is just.
It's just the work.
I think 18 is just the way it tackles so many problems by just bludgeoning their opponent over the head with the Victrix rock. That I can't see a world where I wouldn't run 18. But
so for frame of reference, Victrix Guard, each unit went up 30 points, right?
Hmm.
So that's 90 points. So as you can see here, if you drop I played into Josh Roberts, who had two ballistas, two redemptors. Um, he all he has to do is drop that one guy that ran out into the middle and could have done the same job as a scout unit, really, and then his army's still exactly the same. I think. Um, oh no, I tell a lie. No, no, yeah. So there you are. They've lost one character.
Yep.
You load
Good.
in it. Well, Josh has lost that from his army. And like going back to that, I mean, it's tough, right? We had a time when Josh was on Necrons, and they didn't get nerfed as much as people thought they should have. And this has happened again. And I've played Josh a few times, and I really like him. So I would like to think it's not his fault, right? Or the rest of the rules team combined. The only defense I can think of, I've been thinking about a lot for this data slate. The only defense I can think of is, let's face it, we all suspect, fairly sure that next year is going to be 11th edition. Let's face it, Grotmus has been quite underwhelming compared to last year. Is it the case that the rules team and that sort of thing are so heavily focused on making sure that 11th gets off to a good start? Because obviously 10th got off to an absolutely appalling start. All their focus is on that. So therefore, they're kind of just doing what they need to do at the present time. I mean, obviously, it's going to be argued that they didn't do what they needed to do when it comes to Victrix, for example. But in terms of the point of lots of armies not getting changes and that sort of thing, maybe that's the reason why they're too busy thinking forward to 11th edition and fine tuning those things. That's
Yeah.
the only thing I
I,
could potentially say.
I think some of the point, as someone that's played Josh a few times and we've always had good games, I just like to see him play some things that aren't the meta broken stuff. I think it would be a really good look to just play some of the army's detachments, things that are maybe a little bit underexplored, to just be like, there is some stuff here, guys. I've looked at it. I've played all of these different things. I'm looking at things fairly, right? Like everyone's getting an equal looking, and I think that would
It's a
just
big
that
deal.
little step would be really good in improving people's perception.
Especially like doing it when it counts, right, is fine. Like you go to LGT, whatever, fine.
Yeah,
Like in the case of this tournament, it's Warhammer World, so the competitive isn't quite there. Even his team have taken some slightly different thing or things they're not used to. Josh sort of, they said like, Josh was like, I'll just take the Victrix. And so, well, I obviously when he's doing the play testing and stuff, he'll be talking a lot about or practicing lots. I asked him like, what are the armies? He was like, oh, I play most of them when we're testing and stuff. So yeah, I guess some people can't turn off that switch, right? Can't take something which
they
they don't
can't take three Orknauts to an ITT.
exactly.
That's the difference.
Yeah, different people in it for different things, I guess, and some people are full throttle all the time. I guess is the thing there. Right, is there anything else interesting to talk about on Sunday? So we said Matt Necrons. Does anyone have? Does David played again? Now, did he play the same list? Was this a two? I don't understand what this was. Did he play exactly the same list?
Yes, it looks like it.
It looks like he did. So
What
what
was the
did he
loss this
lose?
time? I
Well, sorry,
suppose.
David, we're picking on you here, but we want to see. So he lost to Necrons. There we are. Necrons are, as always. So Star Shatter, that's been coming up a lot, hasn't it? Nightbringer, Void Dragon, oh hello, Hexbot Destroyer, Imotech, Scorpec Lord, love that. Technomancer, Silent King, Canoptic Reanimator, Six Race, Flayed Ones, and Ophidian Destroyers. As always, I look at the list of a Necron player and I go, how the hell does this win games? But he's gone and annihilated the guard.
Yeah, I don't know the guard matchups well enough to know what would have went wrong there. My guess is that without the lethal staple to everything, the actual higher toughness on a lot of the Necron stuff actually was a problem.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm no Necron expert. I mean, we've got a Necron expert in the chat, right? So I'm sure he can
Yeah.
explain how that list would beat guard.
And then we've got Jakari Matt here says the only reason I think Matt was he was distracted by my good looks. There we are. Now we find out
That
why he can't be
feels
beat.
that feels appropriate in a Drakari versus EC game. So
Yeah, I dread to think what was going on under the table there. So there you are, guys. There's our new meta, or a quick glimpse into it. Hopefully, people have found it interesting. Obviously, now we would normally go into Who Am I, but I'm guessing Ed's still not here because
Ed is in fact not at the bottom of the bar.
No, I thought you were about to go. Ed is in fact has been at the bottom. I was like, oh,
It's been waving like this for about half an hour.
My bad. So I'm just going to skip the Who Am I because I'll save it for.
I'll look away from the screen.
Yeah, look away then. Yeah. So list surgery. As always, if you are a As always, if you are a member of our YouTube, last time I checked, we had 154 members. Then what should happen is when you're on our Discord and you're a member, you get access to a members only section where you can submit lists. If it's not working for you and you want to submit a list, just drop me a message. I'm Chris on there, and I will just set the permissions right because Discord doesn't always do the right thing.
The correct method is to @Chris 20 times every 5 minutes until he fixes it.
I love that. So, I do love that. What I've enjoyed on our Discord meetings, we've had 2 spam things drop in and just send comment in every single section. And when it does that, it's like you could just remove all messages. That's a very quick fix, but it counts each one as have got a new thing in it. So I have to click through them all because my OCD doesn't allow me to just let that rest. So that's really fun. No, actually, Ali G, there were no Eldar players today. Told you, you're going to go to Windrider host if Tom Lohman is setting the trend. Right, now, I missed Sunshiny Rays last time. Now, I mean, the book's been out a very long time, and it says a lot that I've still not played any games into GSC since the book came out. So here is hoping, because all I do is recognise these names. I couldn't even tell you what Outlander Claw is. Is it the combat one?
No, Outlander Claw is the biker one with the bonus OC. It's like
bonus OC, right? So
it's very much a jail/OC spam kind of primary dominating type list. It's very, very low on damage normally, very good at not letting the opponent score any points at all.
Okay, cool. So it's a fun sponge. That's right. So let's have a look. So Benefictus, Jackal Alphas, Kelamorph, 3 Saboteurs. I know they're annoying. 10 and then 5 on Acolyte Hybrids, 3 units of 10 Neophyte Hybrids, 2 Goliath Trucks, 3 Achilles Ridge Runners, 10, 5 of Bikes, 3 units. Oh no, I'm going to do that again. Son of a 3 by 5.
Man, you know what? Honestly, I hadn't considered it, but Outlander Claw with a Dune Crawler and 3 Disintegrators is really good. So whoever's come up with this list, you're a genius.
You know
I don't know why anyone else hasn't thought of that.
As I was typing this, I was like, make sure I delete all the stuff like I didn't do last time. Where is that? So annoying. And then there's not a Dune Crawler and 3 Disintegrators. Let's pretend that doesn't happen. 3 units of 5 Gene Stealers. Do you have any thoughts on this? Obviously, you don't play.
My thinking is that I'd like to see maybe an extra Ridge Runner or 2. I think the list. I know I said before the detachment and army doesn't do any damage, which it doesn't, but occasionally you do have to solve a problem that can only be solved by killing the problem. At which point you're gonna want to have an extra just couple of mining lasers in there, right? Like I think my perfect split in my head, I'd like 2x2 laser Ridge Runners and then a mortar that sits in the corner.
Yeah.
Now I need to go look at how many points Achilles Ridge Runners are quickly to work out where we're actually going to find the points for 2 more Achilles Ridge Runners. So they're about 100 points each. We'd have to find 200 points. Well, my thinking is that maybe you start by looking at the Gene Stealers. They help with the jail aspect a little bit, but they're not super essential to that. So you could probably cut like one of each of the infantry units off. You could probably cut 10 neophytes, 5 acolytes, 5 gene stealers, and you've probably taken off enough points to sort of get you over the line. I don't think you need the Benefactus in this list. I don't think I'm missing any weird combo with the Benefactus in this detachment that says that you need to have it leading a unit. Like it just, I don't think your neophytes are doing enough damage here to justify needing a Benefactus in the list. So that's probably the sort of areas I would start looking for points is to take 2x2 laser ridge runners, 1x mortar. I cut the Benefactus first, and then maybe 5 gene stealers and 10 neophytes. And I think that's probably nearly enough points to find 2 more. But otherwise, it's an Outlander claw list. It has lots of bikes. It's not going to let the opponent score any points, and it's not going to kill anything. But that's what it does.
There you are. And you're welcome for the June Crawler and 3 disintegrators. Now then, here we go, Mr. Jack Type. Time to shine. Mr. Alex Gins here on his Votan. Alex, obviously known as one of the premium Votan players in the country, well known for just going to a team's tournament, getting 520 O's. But he's not happy with that, Jack. He wants more. He wants 21 points in every game. So here's his list. He has got a little bit of chat on the thing as well. So he says, "This is a list I took to November ITT, did well with the Grim Dark Garage team, and now thinking of what to take in singles. Data status brought with it a cut of 30 points to go with the 10 points I was under previously. So what should he do with his spare 40 points? He could drop the Arcanist for more Berserks, or go more radical and seek to get 10 Half-Guard with Carl and +1 to wound enhancement. Or he can make Tom Noman excited and drop some Berserks to fit in 3 Arcanists. Or maybe he could swap the Arcanist to give Burge, who I assume is the new character, a go there. So, for you podcast listeners, this is a Need Guard Oathband Votanist with an Arcanist, a Memnir, Uthar, 1 Capricus, 6/3/3 of Thunderkin. I didn't write down the weapons. Jack will tell me that was an important thing.
Six will have conversions, and the 2/3s will have the grav cannons.
Yeah. 2 units of 5 Berserks, 2 Land Forts, 3x3 Pioneers, Jaegers, and then 2 units of 6 Steeljacks, 1 with Disintegrators and 1 with Plasma Swords. So, what are your thoughts? So, singles meta is obviously the focus here. He's got 40 points. Does he go Terminators, or is it just a bit simple?
I mean, my immediate thought, especially having talked to Alex about this list before, is that getting the 3rd unit of Berserks in is always going to be great, right? The Arcanist is fun, but he's not required, right, at all, right? He's like one of those like luxury things you take at the end of a list because you have 60 points left. Whereas now that we have 40 points extra, and that dude is presumably 60 points, that will then give you enough points to take 5 more Berserks, which, I think in my mind is what I would like to see first. There's an argument you could, instead of taking the 3rd Berserk unit, take a Warrior squad to go with Uthar, which could be kind of fun. Having a bit of a higher OC, slightly more durable unit for Uthar to roll around with. Gives you access to stickying your home. I don't dislike that. I think my thoughts is I would either get the Berserks in first, maybe try the Warriors. I think if you were going to go down the Hearthguard route, you'd have to rewrite the entire list, right? I think that at that point we're playing a different list. So Berserks, I think, is what I would like to see most. If you want to try something new, try the Warriors with it and put a 10-man with Uthar and see how it gets on.
There you go. Hopefully that was helpful, Alex. And finally, Red Covenant, Blood Angels, the new detachment. I'm actually quite excited to try and give this a go at some point. So let's see what Ben's gone for. He's got Lamatis, he's got a Sanguinor. He automatically wins because he's got a Sanguinor. Jump Pack Captain, 2 Jump Pack Chaplains, 1 with the Scout 6 enhancement. He's then got 10-5-5 Death Company with jump packs, 3 units of 3 Sandguard, a unit of Reavers. There's that obligatory unit of Reavers. That'll be the first thing to get cut. Five scouts, a Bile Predator, a Death Company Dreadnought, and a Caradus. So if I just quickly read his thing, he says Bile Pred seems like a great early trading piece, especially with Sticky on Death for 1 CP. Death Company Dread, still tough to get into combat, but Advance and Charge helps and hits so much harder, whilst also maybe having a 5 up feel no pain. Scout sits on the chaplain with 10 DC seems like an oppressive way to start turn 1 if you go first, especially with Advance and Charge and native reroll on charges. It's an expensive enhancement at 30 points, but seemed more brutal than 25 points sustained 2 on the captain. Caradus great for CP denial and go turn. Sanguine are not ideal. No, you're wrong. It's always ideal. But can neuter melee opponents an amazing technical piece. If not, I just love the Sanguine. Reavers as playing UKTC and they can negate the 1-inch screen for T1 or turn 1 trades plus BS chances. I know there's one thing that I would probably change, or one thing that I would maybe like to teach. I quite like more bricks of Death Company. I would probably personally look to try and take 20 or 2 10s and a 5, just because I quite like, if I'm going down, I don't want 1 hammer piece. I quite like having 2 hammer pieces, and then you've got the Sandguard. There isn't much else MSU, I guess. Yeah, it's quite nice to have a few things. I'm not sure whether you're going to get value out of the DC Dreadnought. That could probably be changed for just a bit more scoring and maneuverability. And then, yeah, as we said, Reavers are nice, but quite often they're the first thing to go. What about you, Jack?
Why not a second Bile Predator? They feel really solid with Sticky on Death, right? I think just having a couple of them to just play both sides of the board. Maybe one plays the middle, one plays your opponent's expansion. I think I also would like to see a second big brick of something. And it makes sense for it to be Death Company in this detachment. So, I think I am also in the camp of the Death Company Dread, and probably the Reavers are the first 2 things to get cut. But yeah, I don't know how. I think I would really like to see a second Bile Predator. They seem really good in this detachment. I assume it's got the Flamers and the Flamestorm cannon on it, because why wouldn't you? Yeah, cool. Yeah, second Bile Predator. That's what I like.
There we go. Exciting. That is a saucy little pick there. How often do YouTube channels recommend a second Bile Predator? Like, you are welcome, Ben. You are welcome. Right. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is us done for. Oh, there's Jack's face. Is us done for today. Thank you very much for joining, everyone. No, Ed. We'll find out if he's alive shortly. He did get a new job today. So maybe he's just been off celebrating.
Do we want to?
So excited.
Do we want to plug the fundraiser again, Chris?
I should.
I know you dropped the link in the chat,
yeah,
but I don't think you've actually talked about it.
I don't. So. Yeah, I don't do much self promotion on this show. So I should do more. So we are obviously at the moment doing a fundraiser, which is going towards streaming equipment. So this year was the year where we started running events. We feel they've gone successfully. And next year we want to start taking on live streaming events, with the end goal of being going to WTC to live stream all of England's matches, but also live streaming our own events and maybe some other events who want us to live stream for them. If you are so interested in helping us reach that target, we are aiming for £4,000. We're currently on, I think, £1,600. Some people have been insanely generous, and it's hugely appreciated. But yeah, the link is kind of everywhere. It's in, it's on our Facebook page. It's in the chat and all that sort of thing. I will just quickly re-drop it in for you guys. Let's see if my phone's remembered my copy and paste. It's not. Classic. You could scroll, but I'll just whack it in there. I think we'll be back next Monday. Let's see, why not? Probably be the final one, and then we'll take a little break. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, Jack, for all of your wisdom and grade A banter, and also ruining everyone's Christmas with that. The sky is falling.
Yep.
The apocalypse is here, and we hope you have a lovely week.
Yeah, take shelter in these dark days of Victrix Guard and chicken spam, and hide over Christmas.
There we go. On that bombshell. Goodbye.